Gutierrez here, physical therapist. You can find me at movementthinker.org. I was asked to do a series of videos, so here we go. This video is to work on the muscles of the back, but it also works a little bit on your ability to get your arms overhead, okay? And it's important for you to be able to move your shoulder through a couple of planes, actually 5 planes. First one is vertical pulling, so being able to pull from an overhead position downward. Second is vertical pushing, being able to go from a shoulder position to overhead. Okay, this is putting stuff on a shelf, right? This is, God forbid, you fall off a cliff and you have to pull yourself up. Okay. Next is horizontal pushing, opening a door that you got to push, right? And then horizontal pulling, opening a door you got to pull. Because nobody wants to be that guy, right, who's on the wrong side of the door and you're pulling, even though it's a push. Because I've been there before, I feel like an idiot, right? And then it was just a simple horizontal push. Okay. The last one is rotation, right? To be able to bring your arm back for throwing motions, wiping your butt, okay, doing your hair. I don't have much, but every once in a while, doing your hair, scratching your back, and movements like that. Okay. And so you need to make sure that you have the mobility and some strength in order for you to be able to do that. So first motion we're going to cover is vertical straight up and down, and pulling. So bringing this from an overhead position downward. And this is a common machine to see at the gym. You'll have a bar hanging up, you have some sort of a chair, and then you might have a pad down here that your knees can go under. The other way that you can do this is with a straight bar, and you can just pull yourself up and do pull-ups from there. I don't have one of those in the PT clinic. This is a common machine to see in the gym, and the people that are asking for the videos have a machine similar to this, so it's easy for me to just use this. A good question that they posed to me was, should we go behind the head? My first answer is no. You should not do behind the head pull downs or vertical pulling, because you might not have the available mobility to be able to do that. In order for you to be able to bring something behind your head, you need to be able to get your elbows directly underneath your wrists. And if you can't do that, you're going to be pulling into this position back here, pushing your head forward. We want to try to avoid that as much as possible. And so first, you're going to bring your head into a retracted position and slightly up, and you're going to bring the weight down to about collarbone level. Not a good enough reason where you have to go lower than that. Okay. If you're only up here, either the weight's too heavy or you've learned just a different position. And so the goal is to bring it down to about collarbone level and then right back up. One thing to avoid with this is leaning back. Okay, because if you lean back and you pull down to your collarbone, you actually turn this from a vertical motion, straight up and down, into a horizontal motion where you're pulling it into you. Okay, you've turned it into a version of a row. And so the goal is to work straight vertical and then right back up. Another common question that we get is, should we go wide grip? Should we go narrow grip? Should we go this supinated grip or this palms up grip? And the answer is yes. All of the above. Why not? Unless you're having pain, right? There's nothing wrong with mixing this up. There's no magic exercise, right? They're all versions of the same motion. Doing it with the arms wide changes the levers a little bit, changes the stretch that you get on the muscle a little bit, but in the end, it's still bringing your elbows down to your side and slightly behind you, okay? There's palms forward, so it affects the muscles in your arm a little bit more. So like this one won't work your biceps as much. This will work your brachialis, but even that's getting, it's getting too minute. It's the motion that we're looking for, is can you bring the weight down to collarbone, elbows come behind you and toward your side. You'll see the same thing happens when you go into this motion. Elbows slightly behind you and down. This is a longer motion because my hands are closer together. When you go into this position here, the weight's pretty light so I can easily flip. When you go into this position here, you start working the elbow a little bit differently because now your palms are up and you're actually doing like a bicep curl as you bring your elbows down and behind you. So in short, you can do all 3 of those. What I wouldn't recommend doing, unless you're with somebody who's very high level and understands movement and can see your mechanics, I would never recommend going behind your head unless you know who's with you and they know that you're safe to do this. And even then, it's very few that I would recommend do this. Okay? Live well, move well. Thanks for watching.